Good morning and good afternoon to everybody. Welcome to all once again for the National Webinar on Research Methodology. The session is day 4 today. We have a session on the important area of the research methodology, that is data analysis as well as the ICT applications in the processing of data as well as in the analysis of data and the use of ICT tools for the research processing and data analysis. Today we have with us an eminent personality and data scientist, Professor Satyajit Siddheswar Uparkar, who is working as an assistant professor as well as a data scientist in the Department of Computer Application, Sri Ramdev Baba College of Engineering and Management, Nagpur. I would like to have a few words about his experience as well as exposure in a brief biodata. Mr. Satyajit Siddheswar Uparkar is a certified data scientist from International School of Engineering, Hyderabad. He is a triple postgraduate and expert in the domain of data analytics. He is doing his academic research from RTM Nagpur University on the scalability issues related to data mining algorithms. He has bagged 2 Best Paper awards in international conferences. His research contribution includes more than 30 research papers in international and national journals, 2 book chapters, and 3 major consultancy projects. Presently, he is associated with the Ramdev Baba College of Engineering and Management, Nagpur, in the capacity of assistant professor in the Department of Computer Application since 2010. He has total 20 years of teaching experience, including engineering, mathematics, statistics, operations research, computer management, and computer application. He is a data scientist consultant and has provided consultancy to various local companies as well as national level companies. I preferably selected him with his acceptance, kind acceptance, that our research scholars as well as the students who are pursuing their research methodology subject in the PG level, both MCOM and MBA, should have the knowledge of the application of computer and computer related applications in the processing of the data as well as computations of the data by using the SPSS package and so other packages in the data computation process. So I really thank Professor S.S. Uparkar sir for his ready acceptance of our invitation, and I also thankful to the management of the Sri Ramdev Baba College of Engineering and Management, Nagpur, on behalf of the Shiksha Mandal's GS College of Commerce, Wardha, and the entire department of PG and the place of higher learning and research. Now I request Professor Satyajit Uparkar sir to start his proceedings and enlighten those things which are essential for the research scholars to have to kept in mind. Thank you, sir. Please start your proceeding.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I'm just sharing my presentation.
Yes.
Okay. Are the slides visible to you, sir?
Yes, visible.
I'm in webinar of role of ICT tools and data processing in social sciences research. Okay. Myself, I am Satyajit Siddheswar Uparkar, assistant professor in Sri Ramdev Baba College of Engineering and Management, Nagpur. Thank you for my brief introduction. I will just start with my presentation. Slowly I will go with the presentation. If you are having any queries, then you can raise your queries. So you are in day 4. You are in day 4, and in last previous 3 days, many people have talked about the research. Okay, to just correlate the all the stuff of day 3 days, you can see the whether I have given the flowchart correctly or not. Today I am talking about the ICT tools. Okay, information and Communication Tools. Okay, ICC stands for Information and Communication Technology Tools. Okay, now this is a flow chart, a brief flow chart of the research process, where it starts with the problem definition, and then you go with the literature survey, then you form your hypothesis, then you design your research, then you do the data collection, then you processing, then into result. Now at every stage you can find that the ICT tools have their importance or their influence, okay, in research process at every step. Right from the literature survey, the actual data processing, and also after the data processing for interpreting the result, everywhere you will be requiring the ICT tools. Okay, so just to summarize this flow chart, you can say that application of ICT is in pre-data processing. Okay, that is called as pre-data analysis, then the actual data analysis, then the post-data analysis. Okay, one by one we'll go to some introduction to the actual. Move to a case study where you actually apply this tool. If time permits, I will just show you to how. I will just take a simple case study. Everybody will understand that case study. On that parallel lines, you can go with your research, especially in the domain of social science. Now, talking about the pre-data analysis, you can see from the flow chart, it starts with the literature search, then article availability, thesis and dissertation availability. Then you go for some keywords, not only for the research paper related to your article or related to your topic. Then you go for some prominent keyword contains. Then you go for the literature tracking, where you have selected some papers one by one, but after sometimes you should remember what was the line of action with respect to your literature survey. So that is done nowadays by the special tools called as the literature tracking tools. Then we actually go for the data collection. Okay, so for this there are different tools available. For example, for literature search, the prominent one given by the Indian government, that is the Indian thesis repository, is called as the Shodh Ganga. Okay, so all the dissertations, all you can find, then you can go for the keywords and get your what are the previous work done in this domain. Second is the Google search. Okay, so within the various domain, you can find the Google scholars. Okay, the Google scholars have according to the papers, according to the authors, according to the domain, you can find your related work. Okay, you can search for your related work. Then on a private domain, that is called as the Microsoft Academic by the Microsoft itself. Okay, the same as the Google one. Then we are having the Mendeley. Mendeley is related to some nowadays. There is a boom of social networks. So related to social networks, what are the surveys? What are the outcomes? That is provided by this Mendeley. Mendeley is a platform where it talks about the social media. And when we comes to the social sciences, especially the social sciences, we are having one more literature tool where we deals with the purely social sciences tool, which is called as the. You can see ICT tools related to the literature search. Okay, then we'll move to the next part, which is called as the application of ICT tools in data analysis. Now, there are two, everybody will talk about the two things. There are two types of data analytics. One is called as the quantitative data analysis, another is called as the qualitative data analysis. Quantitative data analysis talks about the numbers, okay, numbers, what we play with the numbers. But the qualitative data analysis does not talk about the numbers. They are related to some behavior, they are related to attributes, which are now then converted to some point of a scale. So we'll have to convert it on the scale. Now, when we talk about the social sciences, purely the social sciences, when we develop our hypothesis, we generally talk maximum times we want to correlate this quantitative data analysis by some demographic variables. Demographic variables are the variables which are the characteristics with related to certain area. For example, example of your demographic variables are your gender, then your age, then your income, then your post, and so on, so on. So there, these are called and you play the hypothesis on this demographic variable in terms of your quantitative data analysis. This is a very vast domain in research methodology. This is a very vast domain in research methodology. Another, nowadays there is a boom. The people now are concentrating on the qualitative data analysis. Qualitative data analysis, for example, take an example. People don't want to work on the facts and figure now. People don't want to work on the facts and figure now. They want to want to work on the responses, the behavior, the impact. Okay, that all goes with the qualitative data analysis. We are presently in an era of COVID-19. We are in an era of COVID-19. And take an example where the age group, when I'm talking about age group, I'm talking about a demographic variable. Age group of 10 to 18. Okay, the age group of 10 to 18, they are quite acquainted. They are quite acquainted with the situation, and the families have suppressed the children of this age group, which will have, according to the scholars, according to the predictors, according to the surveys, which will have an impact up to their age of 50. So the age group of 10 to 18 will have a very much impact in their social life, up to coming 2000, and we can say 2050. Now how they will be, how that data is collected, how data is processed. So there are certain methods. You can take an example of interview method, you can take an example of recording. So there are certain tools. Okay, now one of the Tata consultancy has developed its own tool, because see what happens that the European continent have their own psychology, the Africans have their own psychology, the Middle East has their own psychology, and you can say the Americans, the North America and the South America, they are too far away from us, but they don't have, they have their own, because continent to continent, the psychology, the approach changes. Okay, and that is also true for the Indian subcontinent. When I'm talking not only of India, we are talking about the Indian subcontinent, which is a part of the Asia. So here the things are different. Even we talk about our neighbor, for example, Nepal, then Pakistan, then Sri Lanka, then Burma. So they have the same physical characteristics as the Indians do. So how will be this COVID-19 will impact on these people or these families? That is a part of the qualitative analysis. So, but as a beginner, as a scholar or the researcher, today maximum times we start our journey as a researcher in quantitative analysis. So qualitative analysis, somewhere it starts its journey with the behavior, the attributes, and so on, so on. But we automatically need to convert this into the quantitative analysis, the facts and figures. So for quantitative data analysis, there are different tools. The statistical for social sciences, that is created by IBM, that is called as IBM SPSS. Okay, so the current version, I think it is version 21, if I'm not wrong. Then R is but IBM is it is not an open source. What do you call open source? It is not free. You will have to pay. Now, any research center from where, if you are associated with the research center has these packages, and you can just approach to your research center and talk about, okay, I'm having a data, I want to process the data, and I want to do the analysis. You take the permission of on the center of your data head, and you can go for the analysis. But at home, you cannot do this one, because if you want to do it, you will be having the trial version. The trial versions of SPSS that will long for only 1 month. Okay, that will long for only 1 month. But you will be getting it for the latest version. Then there is an if you don't want for the paid package, because IBM Spaces individual copy, again it will cost for more than 1 lakh, minimum more than 1 lakh, and it will have only the certain packages only. It will not have all the packages. Then the open tool, which is a very strong tool, it is an interpreter called as the R. R is a software which is a open tool, open source. Okay, you can easily download this R software from a directory called as Crane, and R is updating day by day. R, it is very strong, it is updating day by day, but the syntax somewhat is different than the IBM Spaces. IBM Spaces is somewhat like you are having. I will just explain the IBM Spaces, how does it look in the coming slide. Then comes if you want to do some calculation in terms of modeling, because nowadays predictive analysis and the logistic regression and the regression, they are very hot cakes this time. And here, as a dealing with the commerce background or social science background or only science background, we talk about the linear relationship between the variables. In your previous lectures, everybody has talked about what is a variable, what are the different types of variables. There are the categorical variables, there are what you call as the ordinal variables, then there are what you call as the continuous variables. So everybody has talked about the characteristics of the variables. Now, when we are dealing with to build a relationship in terms of non-linear curves or some simulators, then we go for the MATLAB. Okay, MATLAB is again it is very good tool to have the simulator on the engineering side. But you can also process. It is having its own strength. The latest version in every 6 months. They update their versions. The current version of the MATLAB, you can say that MATLAB 2020 .p. .p stands for that second version. Okay, at every 6 months it provides this version. Now again, a very strong statistical tool called as SAS, statistical analysis. You are having this SAS. Again, it is not open source. Then you are having a Minitab. It is very rarely used. We don't, and the very much commonly used for the beginners as a researcher is the Microsoft Excel. So this is I'm a data scientist. So as a data scientist, I am very comfortable to maximum of these tools. I know, because every tool is having its own strength and own weaknesses. If I'm not able to solve, able to solve in Spaces, then I will search for R. If I'm not getting modeling in R, then I can go with MATLAB. And just for some initial work, for primary work, every computer in India has this Microsoft Office. Okay, so you can start. It is very easy to start the things, the analysis, the visualization by using this Microsoft Excel. Okay, once you master this Microsoft Excel, then you can go with some ready-made packages for SPSS or R or MATLAB. Okay, but they are the quantitative data analytical tool, strong data analytical tool. But most of them are not open source. So do we have any series of open source in this quantitative data analytical tool? So this is a list of the open software. This is a list of open software. Like SPSS is a paid one. PSS, okay, PSPP is nothing but an alternative of IBM Spaces. It will have the maximum packages. It is having the maximum packages like SPSS. So this is an open software. Just will have to Google it and just check for the PSPP, and you can get what you want in SPSS. Another is a menu-driven statistical software called as a SalStat. Okay, R is already open source, but a different as a student or an educational purpose. Okay, we don't go directly for the marketing research on a large scale, but we as a study or a case study or a research paper for the educational purpose, we can use this statistical lab. Statistical lab is based on the R software itself. Some more, we are having the SimFit, the simulation, curve fitting, and statistics and plotting. So there is a word simulation. So if you don't have MATLAB, so you can go with this SimFit, and just having the software for generating a variety of graph for visualization. Okay, for visualization, there is one more called as the Tableau. For Tableau, if you don't have this Tableau, you can go for the Ploticus. Ploticus is a best tool for data visualization. This is a list of open software. This is a list of open software. Now, I already told you that what is the hot cake. The hot cake goes with the qualitative data analysis. Okay, the sentimental analysis, the behaviors, all this one. For that also, we are having a variety of tools in ICT tools for qualitative data analysis. One is called as the NVO, then Atlas IT. Okay, the logo itself says that qualitative data analysis. Then art of data analysis in terms of max QDA, sorry. Then SPSS also is having, but this is not. These are all not the open softwares. They are specialized with the qualitative data analysis. Specialized with the qualitative data analysis, and for text analysis. For the text analysis, the SPSS has its own package called as the SPSS Text Analytics. Then for now, I'm think of a situation where I'm supposed to record the videos. Okay, supposed to record the videos and audios also. So for that, they are called as the transcoding videos. Okay, so for the transcoding videos, the transcoding analysis in terms of video is done by this Transana. Transana is capturing the video, converting the whatever said in that video into audio, or audio is converted into text, and from that text you can do the text analysis. Okay, now think of a situation. You can go with a word cloud. Okay, I'm not having a slide for word cloud, so I will just I must have given that example of word cloud. What is a word cloud? Now, many times you see many of the words, the keywords, they are written in some large letters, small letters, and so that is called as a word cloud. Now for example, I'm having a stuff of 100 files, and what is written in that file, what are the keywords written in that files? They are the text document. Okay, so I have collected the responses in terms of video. I am interested in audio, so I have the audio is converted into the text. Now the text, from the text cloud, I want to find what are the prominent keywords. In this 100 respondents. Okay, where the response go, in which domain, in which side they go. So I can go with the word cloud. Another example of qualitative data analysis, for example, I can talk about, because that is a hotcake in the social sciences, whether they agree or not. Okay, so they are positive on the positive side or on the negative side. So yes and no. So that is an example of logistic regression. Now, what this logistic regression do? It finds the relationship. It finds a relationship in terms of two variables only, yes or no. Okay, so they are called as the bigram. They are called as the bigrams. Next. Now we have talked about in the process, we have started our data analysis by the tools of pre-data analysis, where we talk about various tools in terms of literature survey, the content analysis, and then we have talked about the actual data processing, the data collection. Then we have talked about the tools for actual data processing. About paid tool. One minute, sir. एक मिनट होल्ड करना. आप दिख रही है क्या? एक सेकेंड। अब चेंज हुआ। अब मेरे तरफ से तो चेंज हो रहा है। एक सेकंड मुझे होल्ड करना, एक सेकंड होल्ड करना। दिख रहा है अभी? अब मैं यहां से तो चेंज कर रहा हूं। एक सेकंड होल्ड करना।
हाँ हाँ।
अब चेंज हो रही है।
अभी रिसर्च प्रोसेस फ्लो चार्ट करके दिख रहा।
हाँ, ओके ओके ओके। Sorry, the slides were not available to you. So you can see from this diagram the impact of ICT tools in every process of the research process. Okay, then this can be categorized into three. Just I am having a fast look. Is it visible, sir? Application of ICT tools in pre-data analysis.
नहीं, वो नहीं विजिबल है, सिर्फ रिसर्च
Data.
प्रोसेस फ्लो चार्ट ही दिख रहा है। आप एंटायर स्क्रीन कर देना, फिर उसमें हो सकता है। हाँ हाँ, अभी एप्लीकेशन ऑफ आईसीटी दिख रहा है।
तो इसको मैं ऐसे चलने दूं क्या?
हाँ, नहीं, आप एंटायर स्क्रीन भी कर सकते हैं, ऐसे भी चला सकते हैं।
One minute, 1 minute. पर एंटायर स्क्रीन करने से
ठीक है ना,
आप ही दिख रहे।
अब विंडो विंडो में देख लो, डायरेक्ट विंडो वाली जैसे कर लेना।
ऐसा होना तो नहीं चाहिए। प्रेजेंट विंडो। अब
हाँ, यस, अभी एप्लीकेशन ऑफ आईसीटी इन वैसे दिखा। हाँ, ओके 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 ओके।
बट मैं अभी मैं स्लाइड शो कर रहा हूँ।
हाँ हाँ, ठीक है।
बट आप बोलते हो कि ये देखो स्लाइड शो हुआ। अभी आप अभी चेक करो कि मेरी स्लाइड चेंज हो रही है क्या?
अभी पहला मैं देख रहा हूँ
उसके बाद
वेबिनार।
चेंज नहीं हुई क्या?
नहीं नहीं हुआ।
Why is it so happening? ऐसा दिख रहा है?
नहीं, हाँ वो दिख रहा है, आपका जो कर्सर मूवमेंट दिख रहा है अभी रिसर्च प्रोसेस फ्लो चार्ट दिख रहा है.
नाउ मूवमेंट है?
नहीं, रिसर्च प्रोसेस फ्लो चार्ट वही दिख रहा है.
Okay, then I will continue in this form only.
Okay.
Is it visible?
Yes, now research process flow chart visible.
Okay.
Yes.
This is visible?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I will just have a recap where we have talked about the application of ICT in pre-data analysis,
Yes.
where we talk about what are the tools available while doing the literature survey, the content search, the literature tagging, and data collection. So these are the literature survey tools available for in ICT. They are the Shodhgagga, the Google Scholar, the Microsoft Academic Search, the Mendeley, and SSRN. SSRN deals with the social sciences researches, where Mendeley deals with the social networking researches which are done or the paper related done in the social networking domain. Then I have talked about the quantitative analysis and the qualitative analysis. In quantitative analysis, these are the major giants. These are the major giants of SPSS, the R, the MATLAB, the Excel, the Minitab, the SAS. The alternatives to this softwares are the open softwares. I have just talked about this one. Then I have talked about the qualitative data analysis. These are the software available with the qualitative data analysis. You can have the Tata Consultancies of India. They have also launched their analytical tool in terms of the data analysis with respect to the qualitative data analysis. Then I will move to the application where we deal with the post data analysis. So we have finished our work with the processing of data analysis. We are in the third part, the ending part of our data analysis process called as the post data analysis. Here we deals with the references and the bibliography compilation. So there are different nowadays there are different ways or styles of writing the references and the bibliography. For example, they are handled by this called as the M nodes, the Zotero, and so on. Now, in terms of article and thesis dissertation among the research and the supervisor, the well-known called as the research gate. Research gate is one of the ICT tool where you can share your article and the thesis and the dissertation in terms of your as a researcher or the supervisor. Then nowadays there is a trend to just have a unique research work. So your article is not copied or your stuff is not copied from some other work, so that is detected by called as the plagiarism detection. So for your grammar correction, you are having the tools called as the Grammarly, then article check. Now in terms of your plagiarism, you have related to your research work in terms of the education purpose, the UGC has given the Urkun software, and there is a very strong software Turnitin. Okay, so you can just check your report, you can check your article whether the contents are copied or they are unique in terms of the tools called as the plagiarism detection. Now there are online tools also available. They are free, but the major constraint to these tools, that they check your stuff only up to thousands word only, and many times that the Turnitin or the Urkun, they go inside. Now major concern here is when you go for the first time for the plagiarism, you check the constraint that it is not related, the data is not stored in the database. Why it happens? Because when you go for the second time, it will give you the 100% plagiarism. It will give the 100. So be careful about the constraint that first time when you go for the plagiarism, you just take out your data from, take out your copy from the database. Otherwise, in future that may create some chaos. Okay. And when you finish with your plagiarism detection, and you are having many of the journals or many of the sites, many of the conference, they will say that okay, 20% plagiarism is okay, but more than 20% they will reject your even the when you go for the thesis work, they will say that 20% related to the literature survey or some definitions, it is okay, but about 20% it is not acceptable. Now after having this one, you can have your journal submissions. You are having the journal manuscript submission in terms of your nowadays SCI, the Scopus, the Web of Science, the UGCKR list. They are having a list of journal where you can submit your work. Okay, so they are some high level, they are some as high level journals, and other than this they are not of note use as an academician. Other than this journal, SCI, the Scopus, the Web of Science or UGC, they are of no use. Okay, so you should be provide your manuscript, your research work in some standard journal list. So there are also some tools, there are also some the ICT tools. So now, talking about the ICT tool index, here our story starts. The statistical and the SPSS software tool in number one is called as the statistical analysis. Now, when we are performing the quantitative analysis, these terms which I am reading here, these terms are very much careful. You should know in and out. You should know every characteristics related to the central tendency and the skewness. Now, the central tendency and the skewness, they talk about the descriptive analysis. They talk about the descriptive analysis. What is the nature of your data? What is the nature of your data? Okay, in terms of your mean, combined mean, harmonic mean, median, mode, quartile, decile, percentile, and skewness. Then comes we call as the measure of dispersions, or they are called as how the data is different, how is the data is dispersed from the central tendency value is called as the dispersion and the distribution in terms of standard deviation, mean deviation, the quartile deviation, the variance, the coefficient of variation, the range, the Poisson distribution, and the normal distribution. So basic three distribution, the story starts with the binomial distribution, the Poisson distribution, and the normal distribution. So this distribution, and in statistics it is assumed that every data is normally distributed. Okay, you don't have any you don't have any biased data. The data you have considered is a unbiased data, it is normally distributed. Now, when we talk about the relationship between the variables, when we talk about the relationship in the variables, we go with the correlation and the regression analysis. Okay, you know this as in the subject of research methodology, or in statistics, you learn this subject as Carl Pearson, correlation, regression analysis, X on Y, regression analysis, Y on X, least square method, and so on, so on. Now, when we are related to some financial research, we go with the predictions with the time series analysis, or we call it the component of math model of time series analysis. And when we don't go with the quantitative analysis, we go with the qualitative analysis. Okay, but we talk in terms about the behavior, the attributes. So we will talk about the association of the attributes. Not every time the variables are not continuous. Every time the variables are not physical variables in terms of temperature, age, and so on, so on. So if you want to do the analysis on the behavior, the fairness, the curveness, so you go with this attributes. So in terms of attributes, we talk about the chi-square test. We talk about the chi-square test. It deals with the class frequency, the number of class, the consistency of data, and positive classes. Now think of a test. Think of a test which is related with the salary and the position. Okay, think of a test which goes with the salary and the position. So salary is a continuous variable, and position is an ordinal variable. Position is your ordinal variable. So you can perform any you can call as a parametric test. The parametric test consists of the normal test, or Z test, or the T test. But if I want to go with the relationship with the number of workers and the gender, number of worker and the gender. Okay, so you can say the experience or in terms of gender. So when gender comes, so you don't directly go with the parametric test, you go with the non-parametric test. So non-parametric tests are performed by the chi-square analysis. Okay, so next comes after the statistical analysis is called as the methodological analysis. Now methodological analysis always goes, I have already talked, methodological analysis always goes with the parametric test. Okay, when we are supposed to have a variable of more than two types, when we are having the variable of more than tire, for example, there are four tire companies, and they want to set that the average life of the different tires developed or manufactured by these four tire companies tire, and you can check the CF tire, tire called as the JKF tires, and so on so on. So in that case, there are more than two variables. You go with the ANOVA test. ANOVA test is a very strong test. But when we don't have more than two, when we are having two variables only, and the data is very small, okay, the data is very small, we are having a sample size of only 30 observation, then we go for a T test. But if we go for more than 30 observation, it is called as a large sample, then we go for the Z test. Now, if the in ANOVA and what is man ANOVA? Now, if there are only two variables, if there are two variables, or if it is only one variable, we go with the ANOVA. Okay. Now, if there is only one target variable, we call as the one-way classification. If there are two target variables, we say the two-way classification. But if there are more than two, where the target variables are more than two, we go as the multivariate analysis of variance, that is called as the MANOVA, man ANOVA. Then we are having again the chi-square test, both on the parametric side, on the non-parametric type. But when we go with some trends, okay, in terms of your sentimental analysis, or the what you call as the behavior analysis, or what you call as the relationship between the two stuff, then we go with the data mining algorithm. Now what happens is that why I have included this one, the above all tests, they play on numbers. Above all tests, they play on numbers. But when we talk in terms of responses or the feedback, okay, when we talk about in terms of responses or feedback, this statistical tools will not be able to go with some tests. So for that one, we go with the data mining algorithm. So data mining algorithm can be what you call as the supervised algorithm or unsupervised algorithm. Data mining, this for example, we want to have this cluster analysis. Cluster analysis is the unsupervised algorithm, where it talks about the similar behavior of certain groups, certain similar characteristic of certain groups, that is called as cluster analysis. But if I want to classify the data, for example, I'm having thousands of I'm a company, I'm a bank, you can say I'm a bank, and I'm having the applications of loan. So whether a loan should be given, to a particular account holder or not, I'm having its request. Okay, I'm having its application for the loan. I'm having 100 of such application. So bank will have certain policies. On that policies, they will have certain strategies, and they will define whether the person should be given loan or not. So it will be yes or no. So there is a target variable to give it or not. So in this case, it is called, when we are having a target variable, there is an output target variable. The output variable, we called it as the what you called as your supervised learning. Okay, so all this go with, because there are terms nowadays which are called as the financial derivatives, the financial integration, the hotcakes of your bitcoins, and so on. So they are integrating with these tools. So hence there is a need of data mining tools also included in the software. Then comes the predictive analysis, where the world of data science is standing now, which is called as the predictive analysis, and which is now business intelligence. It plays a big role in business intelligence. So it talks about the probability analysis of the statistics. Now, probability is just in 12th standard we have just studied about the probability, or having the fundamental of the probabilities, how the probability lies between 0 and 1, and probability is defined as the favorable number of cases upon the total number of cases. Okay, so that is the problem. Now there is one more word, if you want to note down, is called as the navy base probability. Navy base probability. Now you are just think of a situation. I am visiting my friend's house, and my friend is having a dog in its at the home. Okay, now what is the probability I reach the my friend's house and the dog will bite me or not? Okay, so the simple probability will not help to find this probability whether that dog will bite me or not. So I can use the navy base probability stuff to find this predictive analysis. Okay, so these are some unusual circumstances. To find the probability of unusual circumstances, we go with this navy base called as the navy base probability analysis. Okay, what if analysis. Okay, what so the strategy building or the decision making tools we go with this what if analysis. Okay, goal seek the scenario from the MS Excel and so on so on. Again, you can find that there is a common word called as the data mining. So again, you can see the data mining comes in the previous slide also, and the data mining comes in this slide also. Because without data mining, because data mining also work. Now why this predictive analysis I have included, there is called as the database. Okay, there is a word called as a database. Now when you see the structure of the Excel or SPSS, when you see the structure of this SPSS or Excel, you find a sheet there. The sheet contains the number of rows and the number of columns. In number of columns, you write the column heading where they are called as the characteristic or the attributes or the column heading. Okay. Now in rows you put the records. With respect to the column heading, you put the records. So it is a matrix. It is a matrix. It is a column matrix. It is a matrix of column, the attributes or the parameter you call as, or the variables you called as. And in the rows you put the records. Okay. And if you are having 100 records, there will be 100 rows. Now this is called as a structured data. This is called as a structured data. Nowadays, you are having the responses from the websites also. Now you are having the responses from WhatsApp also. Now you are having the responses from what you call as the Twitter handles also. Now this they are converted. That is called as bootstrapping. Underline the word bootstrapping. On that basis of the bootstrapping, you prepare. These are called as the unstructured data. There is no as such structured data. You are getting the review from the text. From getting the review from the text, this text or the sentimentals, they are converted to a structured data. Okay, so this is nothing from the unstructured data. You are copying it from the unstructured data. You are converting to the structured data. Okay, so these are done by some data mining tools in terms of predictive analysis. So again, you will say that he should be given loan or not, he should be joining my company or not. So these are nothing but now there is a word I have written, that market basket analysis. I will just talk about this market basket analysis. Now you go to a mall, now what you do, you will find that generally a thing, for example, there is a toothpaste. For example, rack contain toothpaste. Okay, now you expect that after just a rack after the toothpaste, you should have the rack of your toothbrush also. So directly you can easily choose the toothpaste from this rack and toothbrush from that rack. The smart mall owners, they don't do this one. Okay, what they do, they will keep this toothbrush after 4 or 5 racks. In between the toothbrush and toothpaste, there will be some different rack, for example shoe polish or shoe brush or some detergent and so on so on. Why it is? Because while traveling from toothbrush to toothpaste, you will visit to that different rack also, and there may be a chance. So I am talking about there may be a chance, there may be a probability that you can pick the shoe polish or the shoe brush even you were not prepared for that one. So that is called as the market basket analysis. That is called as the market basket analysis, or called as the a priori algorithm, where what can you choose with wine. If it is a weekend and you love to have the wine, what can be you choose with the wine? So there can be a probability to choose some cake or some chocolates. Okay, so they are called as a priori algorithm. Priori, that means trend. Okay, priori talks about the trend. A priori talks about there is no as such usual trends. Okay, so they are called as the a priori algorithms. Then we are having, I have talked about, then we are having some numerical analysis in terms of number and string variables in form of SPSS. So you are having this SPSS and you are having the square root and other inbuilt string and numerical functions. Then in Excel, you have, you know, this in terms of the max, the mean, the average, the sum, the count, the total, the subtotal, and the so on, so on, so on. Okay, there is a vi look and so on. You can find the macros in the Excel sheet also, so they are all related to the numerical analysis. Then I will put a case study now. I have talked about the various tools available in the market with respect to your information and communication technology. Now I will just go with a case study with related to your social science research. Okay, it will take 10 to 20 minutes. Okay, I will just go through the step what I have talked about. Now I am talking about the research process and how the tools will help in to go with this case study. So the case study, the title of this case study is evaluation of locus of control among the private bank employees. So the keywords here, what you talk about the keyword is the locus of control and the private bank employees. So private bank employees is related to your MBA, or you can call as the MCOM, or you can just have this. Okay, it is talking about some financial resources, but I'm talking about the word. It is not the. It is related to financial resources or the financial stuff. It is related to their power or their responsibility or their behavior, the behavior to a situation in terms of locus of control. Actually, this locus of control can be counted in terms of the qualitative analysis, but here we have taken it in terms of the quantitative analysis. Okay, the locus of control. And now for locus of control, now as a financial guy, you will not be having any more domain knowledge for this locus of control. So we'll have to take a proper person, okay, a proper guide, okay, who can talk about this locus of control. Okay, now first thing, now before going to the research, you should know something that is called as the domain knowledge, what it talks about. Then only we can go with our output. Unless and until there is no need, there will be no good and to your research. Okay, good interpretation to your research. So first thing, always first thing remaining, even though I don't belong to that domain, I'm a statistician, but I'm dealing with the medical person, the health related, the sports person. Okay, I'm related to the bank person, I'm related to the educators. So everyone comes to me, they approach to me, and then I talk about the what actually they are. Now people come from electrical engineering and they talk about the heat is going in this way and the ammeter, and I don't know, but I know the mathematical. I talk about the mathematical variables, and there I can understand what they are talking and what they want. So that is nothing but the domain knowledge. Okay, if I want to read I will not go in the depth of electrical engineering, but somebody explains me, I can understand what actually they want. That is called as the domain knowledge. So first and the first, you should know the things. Okay, you should have the domain knowledge. Now so how the content goes. So what we have written in our the journey, it starts with the abstract, what you want. Okay, what you are supposed to give. So that is a summary in terms of not a summary, what is a deadline, sorry, in terms of your what will be your walkthrough in terms of the abstract. Now what the domain you have selected, what the domain and what the domain talk about, it will comes in your introduction. Okay, what are the certain definitions, what are the different approaches, okay, that comes in the introduction. Then comes what related work has been done. So you will whether this topic is worth or not to go with the research is called as the literature survey or the literature review. Now, how will you perform your analysis? Okay, that is called as the data analysis in terms of the research methodology. What will be in terms of how will you collect your data, how will you process your data, how will you do the analysis, and how will you interpret data? They all goes with the research method. What will be the step-by-step approach? Now, actually, how will you do it? But how will you implement it? Okay, what are the calculations? What are the end result? You actually do it. So you implement in terms of data analysis. The result are now interpreted. What you got, okay, what you can relate it with your study, they are nothing but the interpretation. After interpretation, there is a final conclusion, what you have thought and what is the ground reality, or what is the deviation between what you have thought and the ground reality in terms of the conclusion. Okay, where you support a particular thing or particular stuff or not, that is written all in the conclusion. What were the advantages, what were the disadvantages, what were the your what you call as the deviation in terms of your conclusion, and the brief about the references and brief about the references. Yes, I will talk about the abstract. Now, this is just a gist where I should know the domain knowledge. I should know the domain knowledge. What is the scenario of private banks? Okay, what is the locus of control, and how it can be executed. For this, what to do. Okay, this all comes in the abstracts. Now you can just, I will not read each and every point. Thus I will read the starting point. Private bank are those which are owned by the individual or group of limited individual and not by the government. So this is nothing but a stuff related to the domain, okay, of private bank. Now, where I conclude, the last line I can see that this is my starting point and what is my ending point. The study concludes the pro and cons and the prime factors which lead towards the external and internal locus of control amongst the employees. Now, one keyword is okay, that is the private bank, but the other keyword is not clear to me what is the locus of control. So, but I can underline the word, there are two locus of control. One is called as the external and the internal locus of control. Okay, now I will just proceed. So, what is called, it talks about the Indian private bank sector, Indian private banking sector. So how they have been globalized, what are the influence of the branding, how the workflows work there. Now you can see that you can see that there is a lot of difference between the employee of SBI bank, that is a nationalized bank, and there is what you call as the HDFC bank or ICICI bank. Okay, you can just you can see the difference between the SBI bank employee and the ICICI bank employees. Okay, so they are the approach is somewhat very different, okay, in terms of the public bank and the private bank. Now there is a keyword where is called as the balance of work life. Balance of work life. This is a very much keyword which is related to the locus of control. So my study is now revolving for the locus of control. Okay. Now you can see the locus of control is a psychological concept. So social science underline the word, the psychological concept which refers to determine the people's strong belief to control the situation and experience that can affect their life. Okay, so there are two types of locus of control. One it is internal, coming from ourselves, and one is external, by influenced by some external environmental parameters. Now you can see the diagram. This diagram will explain you what is the locus of control. There is an internal locus of control. Now that depends on some parameter called I make the thing happens. It is me. Look what I can do. I can determine my truth. So it is my own decision. It is on my decision. That is called as the internal locus of control. And you can see there is nothing I can do about my future. So you are influenced by some external environment. What does happen to me? Why does this happen to me? You are giving some blame to some other person. why to bother? Okay, so everything is related, not related to you. It is not coming from your inside. It is influenced by some other factor. They are called as the external locus of control. So this is nothing but an example of a domain knowledge. Nobody is interested in this one, but we'll have to understand what the fellow is talking about. What if somebody approaches to you, you will have to understand what it is talking about. Even though I am not belong to that domain, I will have to understand what it's talk about. Then only I can go for the analysis part. Now, the theory says that there are seven different, when I talk about the locus of control related to private bank, I have to find the variables. It is very step two. Number one, what is the domain knowledge? Number two, what are the variables? Now I am on the variables. I have find seven different variables which can affect the locus of control, evaluation of locus of control. So second part, we'll have to define our variables. We'll have to define our variables. These are the parametric variables. These are the parametric variables. So for this study, there are seven parametric variables: job satisfaction, promotion, motivation, job stress, relationship with colleagues, client, balance, work life. So as a organization behavior, you can understand this what I'm talking about, these parameters. Now inside that star, you can see I have written there: influence the demographic variable like age, gender, present position, etc., etc. So every time when I do the research, it is related to the demographic variables. I will form my hypothesis in terms of demographic variables. The second part comes that now what is the previous study? Is there any previous study in this domain that is comes to the literature review? That comes to the literature review. So I have divided the literature review in certain sections. So first section is called as the Indian private banking sector. So I can find some latest papers. They are the latest paper. So it talks about the last 3 years, 217, 218, and so on, so on. Then I have the section 2, locus of control in various domain. Okay, so people, what are the factors? What are the factors related to this locus of control? So you can say, you can find some three major papers which are related to this topic. For more paper to have this, I am having the seven variables, so I can pick up the variable list from this papers. Okay, so directly I have not choose that one, so I can understand that there are certain work which has done on this variables, okay, in terms of the locus of control in various domain. Then this section 3, how to analyze them. It talks about the various statistical tools. So the people have find there is a scope of research. There are certain parameters, and how can I do the analysis? So there is a third part which is called, is again I have done the literature survey on what are the statistical tools available, what are the ICT tools available to perform this study on the locus of control. Actually, the last two paper is our paper only. You can find the name as the Satyajit S. Uparkar. Okay, then comes the research methodology. So step by step, I am supposed to go. Now I am supposed to, what is my problem definition in terms of the, what we call as the hypothetical statement. Okay, define the problem statement in terms of hypothetical statement. Now everybody has talked about what is the null hypothesis and what is you called as the alternative hypothesis. Okay, null hypothesis is an unbiased hypothesis. You do not do any biasness, so they are called as the null hypothesis. So now you can see that everything is related to some gender difference. You can talk about now the first hypothesis, it is related to some demographic variable, that is there is no gender difference among the bank employees regarding the LOC. Then when I am talking locus of control, I am talking about the internal locus of control within the private bank employees. So there are different banks, and every bank have its own strategy. So how this internal locus is again a non-parametric variable, how it has its influence on different private bank employees. So I can take what are the different bank employees. So I can take the post. I can take the post for having different post. I can go with the what is the internal locus happening in terms of the you can say the clerk. What is the influence of internal locus of control in terms of your what you call as the managers and so on, the cashiers and so on, so on. These are the posts related to your private banks. Okay. Now, in another term, another factor, when I'm talking of locus of control, I'll have to cover the external locus of also control. So these are my three hypotheses of my study. Okay. Now I have to identify from who to whom I will share my this responses. So they will give me a responses. So you can say identification of sample size, sample and scope of study. So I have taken sample size of 200, that is female are 100 and males are also 100, and 4 private banks were selected: Axis Bank, the HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank and the Yes Bank. Okay, the scope of the study is Nagpur city. Okay, and I have taken the convenient sampling. So people have talked about the different types of sampling also. Why I have taken convenient sampling? Because I'm supposed to approach to the private bank employees and I have to take their concern. Okay, I have to take their concern. Okay, will you respond to our study or not? So what is your mobile number or email ID? Please give me. Then we'll provide you the survey form. Okay, so it is called as the convenient sampling. Then I have prepared my questionnaire before sending to my survey fair. I am supposed to prepare a questionnaire. That questionnaire should include all my parameters. Okay, so the questionnaire form consists of 2 sections. One is called as the demographic variables, where it talks about the personal details, where the bank, the present position, and the gender. And then it talks where I have identified for my study. Okay. Now method of data collection. 250 employees I have approached. By I don't know that all 250 employees will respond to me. So I can keep on the lower side. That is 200. At least 200 I should get it from the study. Okay. Now there are different tools also which will define your sample size. Also there are certain tools. They depend on certain parameters which also decide the sample size also. Okay, so based on the what is your population size, you can define your sample size also. Then I have just further every survey we are supposed to do the pilot survey. Then underline the word the pilot survey, because whether my study is going in the right direction or not, I will do it by pilot survey. Then after pilot survey 50 sample, then I will go for the finish. I will finish my survey by collecting the responses from the 200 samples. Okay, I just fixed to the 200 sample. But if I go, okay, I am not sure that all 200 will give the responses or not. So I have taken previously the 250. Out of 250 I have selected the 200 samples. Okay. Now which is called as the data pre-processing. Now when we collect, what this called as the data pre-processing, because when you collect the data is somewhat a tick mark or some entered data in terms of your Axis Bank, HDFC Bank or ICS Bank or Yes Bank. Even you put a Google form, they will be in terms of this word. Now we'll have to convert it to numbers. We'll have to convert these words into the keywords into the numbers. So I have put 1 as the Axis Bank, 2 as the HDFC Bank, 3 as the ICS Bank, and 4 as the Yes Bank. Okay. Now again for the second demographic variable, as 1, accountant as 2, cashier as 3, and clerk as 4. So these are the mnemonics given in terms of the code. These are called also as code. These are called as the code. I'm supposed to play when I'm supposed to enter the data in SPSS or Excel. When I'm supposed to do the analysis, they will play on the numbers. They will not play on the strings. Okay, so I do this mnemonic or the codes. Now if I'm having gender, the third demographic variable, I have talked about 1 as the female and 2 as the male. So I automatically convert this numeric the string data into a numeric data. This is my questionnaire format. Now you can see from the questionnaire format there are 7 parameters, and now from this one, every parameter is divided into 2 parts. One is called as the what you call as the related to external locus. One is called as related to the internal locus. The domain person will give this knowledge to you. You are not supposed to put your brains. The domain person will give to you this knowledge. If you belong to the same domain, you will have to identify the variable and you should know the domain knowledge. Now you can see that I have the question pattern is nothing but it is of 7 questions, which is divided into 2 parts. One is related to your internal locus, another is related to your external locus. Internal locus questions, there should not be uniformity, so I have taken 1b, 2b, 3a, 4b, 5a, 6, and 7b as my internal locus question, whereas your 1a, 2a, 3b, 4a, 5b, 6b, and 7a as my external locus question. Suppose every time you'll have to mark only one out of A and B. You are supposed to choose only one of your A and B. Now the scoring pattern. Okay, now the scoring pattern. The scoring pattern was decided as scoring range from 0 to 3 indicates the internal locus, whereas the scoring range from 4 to 7 indicates the external locus. So there are literatures, there are survey behind, there are theories behind this marking of this internal locus and external locus. That is also given by the domain person. Okay. Now actually comes the data analysis and the interpretation. So there are 5 steps. Okay, well, first it starts with the pilot survey, and I am supposed to find the reliability of the model, the 7 parameters, whether they are concerned with my research study or not. Okay, so 7 parameters, I will just this called as the reliability of the model. Then I will have called as the validity of the data and the data pre-processing. So whether if I go with the Google form, it is very easy that there are not missing values or the data has not been misinterpreted or misentered. So they are the part of the validity of the data and the data processing. Then actually is analysis starts with the exploratory statistics, then it goes with the descriptive statistics, and then it goes with the inferential statistics. In coming slide, I will just tell you what is this exploratory statistics, descriptive statistics, and inferential statistics. So these are the 5 steps and interpretation in terms of data analysis and interpretation. First part, it talks about the tools. The second part talks about the data analysis. Okay, so I have put the data analysis. So for what I have done, it started, I have not gone for directly 200 samples. I have first talk about the 50 samples. Okay, I have collected this 50 samples, that is called as the pilot survey, and I find the reliability of my model, reliability of my question, what you call as the questionnaire, in terms of, you just underline the word called as the Cronbach alpha value. Okay, the Cronbach alpha value provides me the reliability of my data set, reliability of my questionnaire. Now this Cronbach alpha values directly, you can use the SPSS model, you can use the SPSS and get the Cronbach alpha value. But if you don't have the SPSS, you will have to go for the formula. You will have to go for the formula in Excel sheet, and there you can calculate this Cronbach value. Okay, now here when I'm talking about, I'm not talking about directly the steps, because if I'm using the SPSS, it will directly give me the output. It will give me directly the output. I'm interested in now interpretation. Now it says that the theory says that the Cronbach value lies between 0 to 1. Okay, the Cronbach value which lies between 0 to 1. Anything greater than 0.7, anything greater than 0.7 is acceptable. I'm having a value there 0.8, so it is greater than 0.7, so it is good to accept my research model. Why I'm doing this survey? Now if it was less than 0.7, so this was not an acceptable model. I will have to change my model. I will have to change my model. Whether I am supposed to add a variable or I am supposed to delete a variable, I will have to do with the domain expert. Okay, this variable is not having the much influence on your study. So that can be determined by this Cronbach alpha value. Next step, if my model for external locus and the internal locus, they are very good. So I will, because they are the toggle question, either you are having the internal locus question or the external locus question, hence the Cronbach value for the same, they are the same values. You can find that because there were pairs, they were pairs in terms of 7 parameters. Now you can see I have given with the SPSS screen. And now this SPSS model is nothing but it is looking like the Excel model. It is nothing but the Excel sheet, but it is having 2 views. One is called as the data view, another is called as the what you call as a variable view. Okay, now in the right side bottom left hand side, you can see the data view and the variable view. The data view is this view which is in terms of Excel. Now what are the type of variables? What are the types of variable? The variable list, its characteristics, whether it is ordinal or categorical, or it is scalable or a scalar, and that is defined in the variable list. Okay, then this next screen is nothing but the output screen, which we give another the screen which is called as output screen, where we will have to pick up, which we have to pick up the for the interpretation. Now you, this is nothing but the output screen of a reliability all variables. Okay, I have taken that you can see the number of observation 50, all were considered 100%, there were no missing values, and the reliability statistics for 7 different variables, it is 0.818. So you can just write in terms of the table. So I have written that 7 items, and I have taken 50 variables, and the Cronbach's value is 0.018. So I have written in the previous table. So this is a table for me. This is a table which have done the data processing in terms of SPSS. Now I know that my pilot survey was good. Okay, all the 50 samples have responded very well. I can go with the further study. So I have done the I have entered the remaining 150 samples there. Okay, and I have just data pre-processing. I have just previously used that. For one, I can use the in terms of bank. One is Axis Bank, two is HDFC Bank, three is the ICICI Bank, and four is the Yes Bank. Okay, then the present position: manager 1, accountant 2, clerk 3, cashier 3, and what you call as 4 is my clerk. Okay, then the gender 0 and 1, and locus of control responses in terms of yes and no. If I had tick mark, it is yes, it is 1. If it has not selected, so it is false by default. So there is no missing of data or outliers of the data. That is, when I choose this one, there is no missing of data and the outlier of data. Every field is compulsory here. Every field is compulsory. After that one, when I have collected all the 200 samples, I have considered all the 200 samples, I have this table statistics that is called as the exploratory statistics. Now I can see, because one of my variable was my gender, okay, in hypothesis. So I have taken with respect to how many males are there, how many females are there. So employees in terms of management accountant, then you are having the cashiers, and then you are having the clerk, and so on, so on. So you can see there is a table that is called as a tabulation. This is called as the tabulation. So this gives me a complete figure of my distribution. Okay, from where I have collected the data, how many observation were with respect to the managers, how many with respect to the accountant, and so on, so on. How many people have collected from Axis Bank, how many sample I have collected from the HDFC Bank, and so on, so on, so on. Okay, and its interpretation is written there. So you can see that if there any highlighted point here, so females cashier are more than the male cashiers. Okay, there are in the region there are more female cashiers than the male cashiers. Okay, this is one of the highlighted point here. Everyone there is somewhat, you can get the accountant, all the female are more than the male. You can see these are the two categories where I can highlight the point. Okay, I have seen this is a typical trend in this Nagpur region. Then that was regarding the sample responses. In terms of the responses, in terms of parameters, I have seen what are the positive parameters and what are the yes and what is the no's in terms of this called as the internal locus and external locus. So external locus in terms of blue pillars, upon that one internal locus in terms of the orange pillars. Okay, so it is called as in terms of diagrams. So you can have you can explore the data in terms of table or in terms of your charts. You can see the charts. Then comes the descriptive statistics, where it talks about the central tendency, your what you call as your dispersion data. So in this example, in this case study, we have taken the number of observation, the average, the median, the mode, and the standard deviation, and you can see the coefficient of variation. Why coefficient of variation? Coefficient of variation gives me the consistency of data. Coefficient of variation gives me the consistency of data, and coefficient of variation is calculated by standard deviation upon your what you call as the average multiplied by 100. So you can see minimum is the coefficient value, coefficient of variation value, larger is the consistency. So among the two, external LOC is consistent with respect to your internal your LOC. You can write in this interpretation. You can see the last line, the consistency among the external LOC is much more than the internal LOC. So you should know the actual what is the actual decision, what is actual final result can be interpreted by using some theories. Then I have moved to the last part, which is called as the inferential statistics. There I have actually taken what were the hypotheses of my study. So there were three hypotheses in terms of no gender difference, no difference between the internal locus, no difference between the external locus with respect to the private bank employees. So this was my stuff, evaluation of locus of control in private bank employees. So I have, in terms of employees, I have taken gender effect. In terms of the LOC, I have taken completely in terms of the private bank employees, in terms of internal LOC and external LOC. So two keyword, LOC related to internal external, bank employees related to you are called as the gender, because it is the influence you can say influencing variable in terms of the demographic variable. So I perform because my data is somewhat more than 30, so it is a large sample set. So I have performed the gender difference. There are male and female, so there is only two class. So I can go for the large sample test having two groups, one of male and one of female. So I have done the Z calculations there. So this is the story about what you call as how I perform the Z analysis. Now in SPSS it will say the same as the T calculation. The T calculation and Z calculation in SPSS, they are same. T is used for small samples, Z is used for large sample, but the formula remains the same. Okay. Now for the next one, where I am not dealing with the always with the demographic variable, so I'm dealing with the domain variable called as the internal locus and then external locus. Then I have performed the ANOVA. This time I have not taken the male and the female. I have taken the different bank employees. Okay, so there are 4 banks and 4 types of positions. So I have used one-way classification there, because I am supposed to take with respect to private bank employees. I am not supposed to take with respect to the post of private bank employees. So bank employees, there are 4 banks. So I have taken one-way ANOVA table there. So for that one, I have calculated the F statistics, the P values, and what I have done in the last column, that I am supposed to accept or reject my hypothesis. So you can see that in first case, I am supposed to accept the null hypothesis, and in second case, I am supposed to reject the null hypothesis. Okay. On the basis of what I have done, so I have written the conclusions there. Okay, what I have find there and what is my actual finding in terms of conclusion. Then after conclusion, I will have this overall what I can suggest then. Okay, what I can suggest then. So in second slide, I have written the suggestions there, and then I talk about the references. Okay, so references, there are certain patterns with respect to the social sciences. There are different patterns. You can write it alphabetically, or you can give number in square bracket, and so on, so on. Now I will just put an end there. Nowadays there you can see this. You can, if you don't have SPSS, you can perform your data analysis by using the Excel sheet also. But you will have to download the data analysis tool package there. There is you can follow the concept. You can see the videos there, or you can find in YouTube what are the steps to have this data analysis. So this is a tool there, data analysis tool there. Now on the basis of this tool, you can do your preliminary statistics, your F statistics, your ANOVA in your Excel also. There is no need to have the SPSS. Okay, just will have to have this. Now where it comes, now it comes in the data. Okay, the menu of the data, you are having this large part, data analysis, and data analysis has so many tests given in the Excel sheet. Then comes nowadays you don't go to the customer, you directly don't go to the respondent, you directly send by using Google Forms. So Google Forms are a very useful tools in the ICT tools. The Google Forms are very good tools to have the responses. So there are two parts. One is called as the private form, okay, the personal form. Another form is called as the business form. Just you type google.com forms about, so you'll be getting 2 types of forms. You can select any one of this one for your personal or for your business enterprise. Now this was about the getting the tools. Now how to present the data. Now there are certain ready-made tools. How can you make your beautiful presentations? Okay, just Google for this infographia. Okay, just Google for this infographia. They are the latest tool providing about, now it is up to 10,000. Okay, not only the 3,500, there are 10,000 PowerPoint slides, the graphs, and 5,000 and above the icons, and so on, so on. So there is a large library in infographia, but this is a paid one. You can have the free versions, but you are having the paid, other than your Excel. Now if you want to have become a data scientist, you should have a different datas with you. Okay, and in every domain you should have the data. So there is a stuff called as all India database that provide you the you can see this is the list which provides you the data set, how many thousands of data sets, crores of data set. In terms of your 50 crores all India database, you can see the social media, market, course, and so on, so on. So it provides a large stuff of database where you can select your database and you have the study. So there is no need to go to the responses. So what are the database available? From that you can find the trend, and from that trend you can have a definition, a problem definitions also. So these are also the modern tools. So from my side, thank you. If you are having any questions, you can ask me.
Thank you very much, sir, for your highly and in-depth analytical way of explaining, and the various pains you took for preparation and for presentation of the total concepts regarding the ICT and as well as data analysis and presentation. I hope all of our research scholars as well as the postgraduate students have come to a overall knowledge of what is data analysis and how the ICT tools can be used better and better, by what applications they will be easier, they can select among all those tools what you described now. And I hope that everybody has been got satisfied with your presentation. And I also feel that this is a need of the hour for all these students who are conducting research on various projects as well as for their MPhil or PhD. I thank you on behalf of our Shiksha Mandal GS College of Commerce Wardha for providing me an opportunity to launch this national webinar series, fourth day today, and tomorrow and day after tomorrow also we have 2 sessions left in this webinar series. And I thank not only Professor Uparkar sir but also his management Ramdev Baba College for giving him the permission to address this session. On behalf of the internal quality assurance cell of our the GS College of Commerce Wardha, personally on behalf of myself towards Dr. Parishkrit Agarwal, who is the able and dynamic coordinator of the entire sessions which were being conducted nowadays online from our college. I also thank Dr. Uparkar sir for helping in many other facets, starting from my major research project point of view, and from till date. I hope similar support and cooperation from you in the future coming days also. And I also expect your physical presence one day or other day in our research cell for the PG students as well as for the research scholars in a more extensive way of utilizing the data tools and communication technology. I hope that you will cooperate in the future course of time also. I pray God to give you more good health and energy as well as good support from all sides. Thank you very much for blessing all of us. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay.